For thousands of years, the Veskari ruled space as the top hunters of the galaxy. They came from a harsh world with heavy gravity that made them strong. Their bodies had natural armor like plates. They could heal quickly from wounds. And something special happened in their bodies when they smelled fear. It made them stronger and faster. Most strange of all, their brains were built differently from other beings. They could not feel fear themselves. The Veskari had taken over 17 different alien races across 300 star systems. Their way of conquering never changed. They would attack regular people first, causing panic, then hunt down military leaders in special ceremonies. No race had ever put up a real fight against them. Their warships were part living creature and part machine, with weapons that grew and changed. Everyone thought they could not be beaten. Admiral Ketvan had led 100 conquests. He received orders to expand into a new area of space that seemed unimportant. His scouts told him there was a young civilization there with slow ships and no single government. The Veskari leaders thought taking over would be easy, just practice for young warriors who had never fought before. As the Veskari fleet moved toward a small star system with a blue-green planet, something unusual happened. Their sensors showed that the primitive species had spotted them, even though the Veskari ships were using technology that should have kept them hidden. Even more surprising was how these creatures reacted. Instead of running away scared, they were quickly organizing ships into a defense pattern. Admiral Ketvan watched his screens with yellow eyes narrowed. "Impossible," he growled, sharp teeth flashing in the dim light of the command center. "They should not have detected us at this distance." His second-in-command, a battle-scarred female named Sevrith, bent closer to study the data. "They move with purpose, Admiral. Not like prey at all." "What do we know of these humans?" Ketvan asked, the unfamiliar word feeling strange in his mouth. "Very little," answered Sevrith. "They fight among themselves constantly. Their planet has many different nations. Their technology is basic. They have only left their world in the last century." The Admiral watched as the human ships formed, a protective ring around their planet. They were small and crude compared to Veskari vessels, but they moved with surprising coordination. "Send in the scout hunters," Ketvan ordered. "Let us test their resolve." As the first wave of Veskari ships moved forward, Admiral Ketvan felt a strange sensation. Not fear. His kind could not feel that, but something like curiosity. These humans were different. They did not act like normal prey. "This may not be the simple training exercise we expected," he said quietly. Little did he know just how right he was. The first battle shocked the Veskari commanders. Though humans had weaker ships and older weapons, they fought in ways the Veskari had never seen before. Humans sacrificed ships to protect others. They turned mining vessels into weapons. They broke all the rules of space combat that the Veskari knew. Admiral Ketvan stood tall on his command deck, watching the battle unfold. On the main screen, his yellow eyes widened as a human ship, badly damaged with air leaking into space, suddenly turned and sped straight toward one of his best hunter ships. "Evasive action," he shouted, but it was too late. The Veskari crew, confused by this strange behavior, failed to move in time. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire and metal. "What are they doing?" growled Sevrith, the Admiral's second-in-command. "No prey species has ever done this before." Ketvan had no answer. In all of recorded Veskari history, they had never lost ships during a first contact. But now, several Veskari vessels were destroyed or damaged. Something was very wrong. Even more puzzling to the Veskari was what their sensors told them about the humans. The Veskari had special devices that could detect fear chemicals from other species. These chemicals usually made the Veskari stronger in battle, but the humans gave off a mix of chemicals that the Veskari couldn't understand. They didn't seem afraid, at least not in the way other species were afraid. "Capture some of them," ordered Admiral Ketvan. "I want to know what these creatures are." After the battle, Veskari scientists studied the human prisoners. What they found disturbed them deeply. Humans had a strange mind and body, part prey, part predator. They felt fear, but instead of making them weak, fear could make them fight harder. This idea was so foreign to Vescari thinking that they couldn't fully grasp it. "Admiral," reported the chief scientist, "these humans are unlike any species we have encountered. When threatened, their bodies produce chemicals that sharpen their senses and prepare them for combat, not flight." Ketvan circled a captured human who was strapped to an examination table. The human didn't cower like other species. Instead, it watched the Admiral with calculating eyes, studying him just as carefully as he studied it. "Can you understand me?" Ketvan asked, not expecting an answer. "Enough to know you've made a terrible mistake," the human replied in rough but understandable Vescari language. The Admiral stepped back, surprised. No species had ever learned their language so quickly. "Full retreat," Ketvan ordered. "We need to reconsider our approach." As the Vescari fleet pulled away from Earth, the Admiral sent an urgent message to the Dominion Council. "We have found something new, a species that fights differently. I recommend full invasion protocol. These humans are not like other prey." 6 months later, the Vescari returned with a much bigger invasion fleet. They expected to find Earth in panic and chaos. Instead, they found the whole solar system turned into a war zone. In just half a year, humans had studied the wrecked Vescari ships and learned how to use alien technology with amazing speed. Admiral Ketvan's new warship led thousands of vessels toward Earth. "Begin the invasion," he ordered. "Use all weapons." The Vescari attacked with everything they had: diseases made to kill humans, weapons that could burn the air, and hunter drones that never stopped chasing their targets. But humans proved hard to defeat. They had no single leader for the Vescari to hunt. Their many different environments on Earth had made them resistant to biological attacks, and their long history of fighting each other had taught them how to defend themselves well. What worried the Vescari commanders most was that humans fought harder when they were losing. Every other species the Vescari had conquered gave up as more of their people died, but humans became more desperate and creative as the battle got worse for them. During a ground attack on a human military base, something strange happened. The human defenders played recordings of Earth's predator animals: wolves howling, lions roaring, bears growling. These sounds were eerily similar to the predators from the Vescari homeworld. Some of the younger Vescari warriors hesitated when they heard these sounds, the closest thing to fear their species could feel. "They are using our own hunting instincts against us," reported Commander Vrex, leader of the ground forces. "These humans understand predators because they are part predator themselves." Even more disturbing, captured humans kept trying to escape. They stole Vescari armor, copied Vescari movements, and sometimes successfully infiltrated Vescari ships. They were studying their enemy, learning to think like predators. Admiral Ketvan watched a security recording of 3 humans in stolen Vescari gear, walking unchallenged through a supply ship before sabotaging its engines. "How did they learn our walk so perfectly?" asked Severith. "They watch everything, they adapt," Ketvan replied. "I have conquered 17 species and none have ever studied us back." The Vescari managed to take control of Earth's moon and outer colonies, but at a much higher cost than expected. Every victory came with heavy losses. Every advance was met with fierce resistance. In his private quarters, Admiral Ketvan reviewed the day's battle reports. The numbers troubled him deeply. At this rate, conquering just this one planet would cost more Vescari lives than their last 5 conquests combined. What makes these humans so different? He wondered aloud. Why do they not behave as proper prey? He did not yet understand that humans were becoming something new, prey that had learned to be predators. As the Vescari secured their hold on Earth's moon and outer colonies, something strange happened. The humans did not focus on defending their home planet as expected. Instead, they scattered their forces across the solar system in small, fast ships. They began attacking Vescari supply lines, communication centers, and scout ships. Admiral Ketvan faced losses he had never experienced before. His warriors sent confused reports from the battlefield. Humans did not fight with honor or follow patterns. They used tricks, set traps, and played mind games with the Veskari. They left damaged ships as bait with bombs inside. They sent false messages to lead Veskari ships into danger. "They do not fight like warriors," complained Commander Vrex during a strategy meeting. "They hide, they run, they strike from shadows. They fight to win, not for honor," replied Ketvon, studying a map of recent human attacks. "And they are winning." The most troubling development came when humans deployed new weapons specifically designed to affect Veskari brains. Somehow, they had studied Veskari brain patterns and created devices that triggered the sleeping fear pathways in the predator species' minds. Warriors hit by these weapons felt something no Veskari had ever experienced: real fear. The effect destroyed their fighting spirit. "How did they discover this weakness so quickly?" asked Sevrith, watching footage of Veskari warriors running from battle. "We did not even know we had this weakness. They study us more carefully than we study them," Ketvon admitted. "While we see only prey, they see us as a problem to solve." A Veskari scout ship returned with video from a human military base. It showed soldiers practicing how to move and fight like Veskari. They had studied Veskari bodies and learned how to exploit weaknesses the predators didn't know they had. They had analyzed Veskari hunting patterns and developed ways to counter them. In his command center, Admiral Ketvon made a decision that no Veskari fleet commander had ever made before. "Order all ships to pull back to the edge of this system. We must reconsider our approach." The Dominion fleet withdrew before achieving victory, the first time this had happened in Veskari history. Some younger commanders argued against the retreat, but Ketvon silenced them with a single question. "Have you noticed we are no longer the hunters here?" The Admiral sent an urgent message to the Veskari Council. "These humans do not act like prey. They adapt like prey but think like predators. We need reinforcements and new battle plans." As the Veskari ships pulled back, human vessels followed at a distance, not attacking but watching, learning. Admiral Ketvon felt something unusual as he observed them on his screens. Not respect. Veskari did not respect prey, but something close to it. The Veskari Dominion Council called an emergency meeting. The humans had done something no species had managed before: forced a Veskari fleet to retreat. The highest leaders sent their best scientists and war experts to study why their normal attack plan had failed. What they discovered worried them greatly. Human history was filled with constant fighting. They had spent thousands of years fighting each other, perfecting the art of war against equals rather than against weaker beings. Humans had evolved as persistence hunters, giving them stamina and determination that matched the Veskari's predatory focus. Most concerning, humans had imagination. They could think of threats they had never seen before and prepare for them. Meanwhile, Admiral Ketvon, waiting at the edge of the solar system, watched human behavior through captured communications. He saw humans mourn their dead, but instead of becoming sad and weak, they became more determined. He watched them celebrate small victories with special gatherings that made their groups stronger. He witnessed something he had never seen before: humans choosing to die to save others. An idea completely foreign to Veskari thinking. "They value the group over the individual," he told Sevrith as they watched a recording of a human soldier jumping on an explosive to save his team. "We fight for personal glory. They fight for each other." The Admiral began to understand something important. Humans didn't fear death the way prey species did. They feared failing, especially failing those they were trying to protect. This meant the standard Veskari fear tactics not only failed but made humans fight harder. In the Veskari Council chamber, heated debates raged. Some leaders wanted to send every available ship to crush the humans. Others suggested using planet-killing weapons to destroy Earth completely. "If we can't hunt them, we should eliminate them," argued War Chief Zexkar. "They are too dangerous to allow them to continue." But the eldest council member, Grand Hunter Malvik, raised her hand for silence. "In our entire history, we have never needed to destroy a planet to win. If these humans can force us to such measures, what does that say about us as hunters? What does it say about them as prey?" As the Dominion prepared a second, larger invasion force, Admiral Ket Von sent a private message to the Council. We must think differently. These humans, they hunt the hunters. They are becoming what they need to be to defeat us. Perhaps we should consider something no Veskari has ever considered before. What is that? Responded the Council leader. Admiral Ket Von's reply was short but shocking. Negotiation. 1 year after the first invasion attempt, the Veskari returned with the largest battle fleet ever gathered. 3,000 warships, 5 million warriors, and weapons that could destroy entire planets. They expected to find Earth heavily protected, but alone. Instead, they discovered humanity had spread out. During the short break from fighting, humans had built outposts throughout their solar system, created shipyards hidden in asteroid belts, and set up an early warning system in deep space. More shocking, they had made friends with 3 previously conquered species who gave them advanced technology in exchange for protection. Impossible, growled War Chief Zexkar as the reports came in. How did they contact the slave worlds? How did they convince them to rebel? Admiral Ket Von, back in command of the invasion, had no answer. The Council had rejected his suggestion of negotiation. Now he had to carry out their orders for complete conquest. The second invasion began with a new plan. Attack all human outposts at the same time, using overwhelming force everywhere at once. But humans had prepared special responses for each Veskari tactic. They had studied Veskari biology and psychology, making weapons specifically designed to confuse and disorient the predator species. The most effective human invention, they had created their own version of Veskari biotechnology, making ships that connected directly with human minds. Where Veskari bioships made individual warriors more aggressive, human versions improved teamwork and problem-solving. In direct combat, human ships worked as unified organisms while Veskari vessels fought as lone hunters. Admiral Ket Von watched as his perfect invasion plan fell apart into chaos. Human defenders didn't fight as expected. They fought briefly, then pulled back, leaving automatic defenses and traps. They attacked from unexpected directions, using the natural features of the solar system in ways the Veskari never thought of. They communicated using methods the Veskari couldn't listen to. They're not just stronger, Severith observed as they watched another Veskari battle group fall into a human trap. They're smarter. They think differently. In the middle of a crucial battle near the planet Mars, Ket Von realized a terrible truth. The humans weren't just defending. They were gathering information, testing Veskari responses, and preparing for something bigger. We are not winning this war, he told his command staff. We are teaching them how to defeat us. For the first time in his long life, Admiral Ket Von wondered if the Veskari Dominion had finally met a species that could not only resist them, but might one day threaten their empire. Not because humans were stronger or more advanced, but because they could become whatever they needed to be to survive. 3 months into the second invasion, the fight changed dramatically. Human forces, now using Veskari technology they had studied and improved, began attacking important command ships. They no longer fought like cornered prey. They hunted like top predators. Admiral Ket Von watched with a mix of horror and fascination as humans used Veskari tactics against them, but with changes that took advantage of Veskari weaknesses. They targeted leaders, communications, and supply lines with perfect aim. They used fake ships and tricks to separate Veskari battle groups, then overwhelmed them with swarm attacks. The most devastating human weapon, they developed technology that broadcast Veskari fear responses, something the predator species had never needed to defend against. Young warriors experienced panic, confusion, and the strange feeling of being hunted. They are inside our minds now, said Severith, watching footage of Veskari soldiers running from battle. They understand how we think. They understand how we hunt, corrected Ket Von, and they have become better hunters. In a major space battle near Jupiter, Ket Von's flagship was surrounded by human vessels using a hunting pattern identical to ancient Veskari pack hunting techniques. As his ship took heavy damage, he received a message from the human commander. A detailed list of Veskari weaknesses and a simple statement. We studied you. We learned from you. We became better predators than you. For the first time in his life, Admiral Ketvan felt something close to fear. He ordered all ships to retreat, but human forces had already disabled the fleet's faster-than-light drives. The Veskari armada was trapped in the solar system, being systematically taken apart by an enemy that seemed to know their every move before they made it. How did it come to this? Asked a wounded Veskari officer, as alarms blared through the flagship. We are the galaxy's apex predators. We cannot be hunted. Yet we are being hunted, replied Ketvan, by creatures who were prey but chose to become something more. The Admiral sent his final report to the Dominion. They hunt differently, they hunt together, and now they hunt us. The Veskari must adapt, or we will face extinction. As the human ships closed in on the flagship, Ketvan made an unprecedented decision. He opened a direct communication channel to the human commander. I wish to discuss terms, he said. Words no Veskari had ever spoken to another species. The human commander's face appeared on screen. Unlike the fear or hatred Ketvan expected, the human showed only calm determination. We're listening, said the human. As the last Veskari ships escaped from the solar system, humanity made a decision no one expected. Instead of building stronger defenses around Earth, they launched their own fleet toward Veskari-controlled space. Using captured Veskari ships and technology, human forces slipped past frontline defenses and made contact with conquered species. Unlike the Veskari, who ruled through fear and force, humans offered friendship, shared technology, and freedom. Species that had served the Dominion for centuries saw a different path forward. Admiral Ketvan, disgraced but still alive after his defeat, watched intelligence reports with growing alarm. Humans weren't just fighting the Veskari, they were destroying the idea that predators could not be defeated. They showed enslaved species that fear could be overcome. They are more dangerous than we thought, he told the Dominion Council. They do not seek revenge, they seek to change the order of things. On 3 important Veskari worlds, human special forces landed, alongside local freedom fighters. They didn't attack cities or civilians. Instead, they targeted symbols of Veskari power. They broadcast videos of Veskari warriors running away, of predators experiencing fear. The galaxy is watching, said Severith, who had been demoted after the failed invasion but still served as Ketvan's aide. The prey species are beginning to look at us differently. The Dominion Council, facing the first true threat in their history, called Ketvan to give his expert opinion on the human enemy. His assessment was grim. These humans do not want to wipe us out as we would do to them. They want to change us. This is a strategy we have no defense against, he explained. We know how to fight enemies who want to kill us. We do not know how to fight enemies who want to transform us. As rebellion spread through Veskari space, humans established friendly relations with 17 formerly conquered species. They shared medicine, technology, and something the Veskari never offered: cultural exchange. The power balance of the galaxy, stable for thousands of years, began to shift. In his private quarters, Admiral Ketvan studied human history and philosophy. He was particularly interested in something humans called cooperation. The idea that different species might work together rather than dominate each other was entirely new to Veskari thinking. Perhaps we have been wrong all this time, he said to himself. Perhaps the true strength of a species is not in conquering others, but in what they can build together. When a human diplomatic ship requested permission to land on the Veskari homeworld, the council was divided, but Ketvan supported the meeting. We must learn from them, he argued, or we will be left behind in the new galaxy they are creating. 5 years after first contact, the former Veskari Dominion had changed into the Orion Cooperative. Most Veskari had returned to their home planets, their warships turned into exploration vessels or taken apart. A small group of Veskari, led by the now older Admiral Ketvan, worked alongside humans as cultural teachers. Ketvan, once the Dominion's greatest conqueror, had become a student of human history and ideas. He was fascinated by humanity's double nature, their ability to be both incredibly violent and remarkably kind. He was the first of his species to understand that the true strength of humans wasn't their adaptability or determination, but their ability to turn enemies into friends. In a historic speech to the newly formed Cooperative Council, Ketvan explained what made humans different. We Veskari evolved as perfect predators, unchanged for millions of years because we had no need to change. Humans evolved as neither top predators nor simple prey, but something in between, creatures that had to constantly adapt, work together, and imagine new possibilities. They could become predators when necessary, but never lost the understanding of prey species. They knew fear well, and therefore mastered it. Human diplomats now traveled to worlds throughout the former Dominion, sharing knowledge and culture. They had introduced ideas completely foreign to Veskari thinking: mutual defense, preservation of different cultures, and progress through cooperation. Species that once feared each other now worked together on projects across many star systems. Did you ever imagine this outcome when we first encountered humans? Sevrith asked Ketvan as they watched a mixed group of young Veskari and humans training together on a space station. Never, admitted the Admiral. I expected either our victory or our extinction. I never considered there was a third path. The final scene showed a new generation of Veskari youth, studying alongside young representatives from 20 other species, including humans. They were learning something no Veskari had ever needed before: how to live alongside others rather than dominate them, how to cooperate rather than hunt. As the first mixed starship crew, containing members of both former predator and prey species, prepared for its first journey, Admiral Ketvan shared a thought with his human counterpart. We feared nothing until we met humans. Now we fear many things, but we understand much more. Perhaps that is your species' greatest gift to the galaxy, teaching predators the value of fear and prey the possibility of courage. The human captain smiled and extended her hand in the human gesture of friendship. After a moment's hesitation, Ketvan took it in his clawed grip. Together they watched the new ship depart, not on a mission of conquest, but of exploration.